better.
Oh, John the Baptist beheaded.
Yeah, and this is Mark 6, and then we're starting verse 14.
Verse 14.
Hello.
Now King Herod heard of him, John the Baptist,
No,
for
no,
his
no, no.
Jesus?
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, because it's uppercase H. But I understand why you thought that, but because of the title, right?
Yeah.
But no, it's Jesus.
Okay. For his name had become well known, and he said, John the Baptist is risen from the dead, and therefore these powers are at work in him. Oh, because he's already
So he's thinking that Jesus is John the Baptist risen. So similar to what Mark had wrote.
okay. Well, John the Baptist is already
I think so.
okay.
But I think they explain. So very similar to what we did in Matthew, which is kind of cool because it's nice to see multiple accounts. It makes the story like more details,
Right.
stronger too.
No, I mean, somebody brought it up yesterday, but it's like a cyclical nature of people coming back and embodying a character like Jesus in history and like bringing back periods of enlightenment and like helping people. But you bring other religions into it when you say that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's that. So who knows? I don't know what happened. We'll figure out when we die. But
Let's see what happens to,
let's see what happens to John or Jesus.
yes. Yes, thank you, Lord.
Others said, nah, he's not John the Baptist. It's Elijah. And others said, it is the prophet or the one of the prophets. But when Herod heard, he said, this is John, whom I beheaded. He has been raised from the dead. For Herod himself had sent and laid hold of John and bound him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, for he had married her. Because John had said to Herod, it is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife. Therefore Herodias held it against him and wanted to kill him, but she could not. For Herod feared John, knowing that he was a just and holy man, and he protected him. And when he heard him, he did many things, and heard him gladly.
Mm.
Then an opportune day came when Herod on his birthday, gave a feast for his nobles, the high officers and chief men of Galilee. When Herodias's daughter herself came in and danced, and pleased Herod and those who sat with him, the king said to the girl, ask me whatever you want, and I will give it to you. He also swore to her, whatever you ask me, I will give you up to half my kingdom. So she went out and said to her mother, what shall I ask? And she said, the head of John the Baptist.
Seems like half the kingdom would have been a better thing to ask for.
I don't know, dude. This is the second time reading this. There's no way this is a setup.
It is a setup from the mom, you mean?
Who knows, right? Well, if you think about the people, right, that had to conspire to bring down Jesus, Jesus is spreading a very similar message to John the Baptist.
Right.
Do you
John
think
is.
those same people wouldn't conspire to kill John the Baptist and work through channels such as thus
Mm.
to achieve the same goals?
Mm.
Who knows?
Like,
Um,
could it have been that? I mean, the lady Herodias, she was obviously. It didn't sound like Herod was as much for killing him,
Look, I'm just saying, you come in, you dance for the men, they ask you what you want, and that's the thing that you want.
Yeah, so that's the daughter. She runs to her mother, and then the mother says, "Oh, now I got it right."
Right.
But I know
But who
that
was influencing
who.
the mother?
Yeah, you're saying it's not just being angry at him saying they shouldn't marry. Like it's not just a primal pride thing for her. There's more behind it. I
Dude,
mean, could the
unless you did
enemy
you
have
was there more to the story?
just right? I don't know if there was more, only that he was mad at she was mad because he said she couldn't marry,
Oh,
but
right, your brother's wife.
right.
But you
Was
think
that enough to put him in jail?
you'd think that John was the only person saying that?
It sounds like maybe, right?
He might have been.
Because maybe if people knew what she was like, let's not say
Seeing
anything to
seeing what happened to him
her. Right, right.
may be correct.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. So was that the end of it for you right there? That's the
uh, no, there's some more.
okay.
Um,
Oh yeah, because this is where she asked in 24, right?
right.
Oh,
Immediately she came in with haste to the king and asked, saying, I want you to give me at once the head of John the Baptist on a platter.
hmm,
And the king was exceedingly sorry. Yet because of the oaths and because of those who sat with him, he did not want to refuse her. Immediately the king sent an executioner and commanded his head to be brought. And he went and beheaded him in prison, brought his head on a platter, and gave it to the girl. And the girl gave it to her mother. When his disciples heard of it, they came and took away his corpse and laid it in a tomb.
mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, look, could it absolutely just be people's petty desires
I
and not
mean,
some overarching theme to bring down the narratives of John the Baptist? I
could there
think
be
so.
right? Could the enemy? Well, the enemy could be behind it too. Obviously
Right?
in the pride, but I mean, the part is like the daughter. She immediately came in and said, she didn't even flinch, like someone's head,
Right.
like, and then he gave he gave it to the daughter. She didn't go ooh and drop it or anything, and then she goes
Like,
like
oh
the
yeah.
like was this a normal thing? Were they
Right.
beheading people and bringing heads around?
It might have been more normal back then, but who's
I
to know?
know
It's interesting what would
that would have seemed like a pretty drastic thing to ask for, right? But they don't seem to be flinching about asking for that, except he didn't want the king. Herod didn't want to. He enjoyed it seemed, right? In verse 20, Herod feared John, knowing that he was a just and holy man, and he protected him.
well, they had, did we read this before? They had like a talk before this dinner,
I think that they had to talk before this. You're right.
and there was like understanding that John would kind of like get out of this unscathed. And
Yeah.
then the dinner after, he was like, oh,
Oh no. I don't.
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Let me see where it's 14. Let me just look at the reference really quick. Sorry, everybody. Let's see if it makes sense. Yeah, it just kind of it just says in Matthew 14 is the story
Oh yeah.
by Matthew's telling, but it says although in that case it makes him say it makes it like Herod wanted to do it. It says although he wanted to put him to death, he feared the multitude because they counted him as a prophet.
But he didn't like him either.
But it seemed like it's all the wife here, doesn't it?
I get right context. Ooh.
Yeah. Mm. So interesting. 21, 26. Let's see. Yeah, because they counted John as a
Maybe that's
prophet.
just my bad.
But it did say, no, it said that, right? In 20 here, in 20 in Mark, it does say, for Herod feared John, knowing that he was a just and holy man, and he protected him. But maybe he was still upset that he said that, but he knew that he was a just man.
Well, it's like why bring up why the people were around him? I mean, he didn't want to do it in the moment, at least.
Right, exactly.
So
So, wow.
there's no no.
Thank
I
you
mean,
that we have our heads. Thank you, Lord.
find peace with having your head.